educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
We thank you very much for tuning in today. We are going to talk today about an interesting topic. You've heard it, quite a few times throughout this past season and seasons past, where we talk about digital marketing. But what's interesting is that this individual is a true visionary, and he's been recognized for his leadership. So this individual, he is the CEO and co-founder of Comrade Digital Marketing Agency, leads a respected digital marketing firm with prominent locations in Chicago, Miami, and Austin. And he steers this organization with a strategic focus that keeps it at the forefront of industry trends while consistently exceeding client expectations. And with a rich portfolio boasting over 400 successful projects, he possesses a deep expertise in catalyzing significant client growth. For his passion for creativity, This permeates the company's culture, promoting an environment where ambition and innovation flourishes, enabling the development of pioneering in-house projects. I'm trying to formulate how to really introduce this individual. I know I'm reading his bio, but I don't think the bio really speaks to who he really is. And so I apologize for that, everyone. You know how I normally flow with this, and I really don't think that his bio speaks to who he is. But I thank you very much for listening to That Will Never Work podcast. I bring none other to you than Ivan Vislavskiy. Thank you, Ivan, for coming on the show.
Hello, Maurice. Thank you so much for having me. While you were going over my bio, I was like, wow, that's a lot of new things I can learn about myself.
And I'm saying that because a lot of times when we read this on paper, sometimes we don't understand what we're doing. We just go along with the flow where we have passion for it, all those type of things. And like I said, I had done some other research on you and looked at the organization, things like that. Like I said, it doesn't really speak to who you are and how you've been maneuvering the organization. So let's talk a little bit about being a visionary, right? I know we're going to get into marketing, digital marketing,
Sure.
But sometimes it has to start with being a visionary and understanding your purpose and your mission and things like that. So how were you able to consider going into this field first?
That's a really good question. And when you just start a small business, you obviously don't understand where it's going to go. You have big ambitions, and I did have those big ambitions when I did start. I envisioned myself sitting in a gigantic office surrounded by amazing, very talented people. And I envisioned that we're going to steer in one direction. We're going to be the biggest marketing agency in the US. That was all playing in my head when I started Comrade. Obviously, it didn't play out this way for the first couple of years, and then that vision was put in the book, until I was able to acquire a big enough team full of talented individuals that helped me bring this vision back and realize that yes, it is actually achievable. But the first couple of years were tough. Not gonna lie, first couple of years, it's all about survival. It's all about making sure we provide quality product, quality service, get people inspired, get people satisfied. Working 25/8 if it exists. Constantly being late. Constantly. Sometimes I even slept at our office just because there's so much piled up on you. And once we had this first layer of management, people that you can trust, people that can start working on the tasks, so you don't have to. You finally have time to free up your creativity and your strategic mindset, and that's where you can wrap your head around, all right, who do we want to be? What's our vision? Where do we drive with this? and then you can start putting it on paper. So that's what happened with me, at
Mm.
least in my journey.
So how do you, because you decide to go into marketing, right? How did
Hmm.
you go into this space without comparing yourself and getting lost during the process? Because a lot of times we look at other organizations that doing the exact same thing. As you say, you want to be the biggest, the biggest organization in the United States. So then you start looking at other people that's within your industry. Now all of a sudden, hey, how did they become bigger? How did they do this, that, and the fourth? So how did you stay focused and centered while you were trying to build your organization?
Well, I worked at a couple marketing agencies before starting my own agency.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have noticed is that most of the agencies focus on the larger type clients because
Mm-hmm.
that's where the main money are, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get bigger checks from bigger clients. But whenever we would acquire a smaller client
Mm-hmm.
in those organizations, they would always be neglected. There'll be very
Mm-hmm.
little service done, and so on. So when I decided finally to separately open our own agency together with my business partner,
Mm-hmm.
our mission from the very beginning was we will focus only on small businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because small businesses are always neglected. Small businesses are the foundation of the economy,
Right.
and they deserve to be treated with white glove service. They deserve the same attention, right? Because and here's the thing: when you work with small businesses, it's so nice when you actually speak with an individual who's behind the small business, a
Mm-hmm.
founder, a business owner, and you can clearly see how your services impact their lives, impact lives of their families, impact lives of their team members. So that was
Mm-hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
differentiator. So from the get-go, we could not identify other many marketing agencies that had similar vision,
Hmm.
had similar passion for small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
All the larger agencies we were surrounded by, they all try to get big accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Google, Microsoft, Ford, you name it,
Mm-hmm.
Nike. We were the opposite.
Hmm.
That's why it was so easy for us to just build our own journey
Hmm.
and not really focus on anyone else, because our personal journey was our own personal journey.
Sometimes we don't find value in our own personal journey. Sometimes we don't find value in what you say, someone might say, quote unquote, the little guy, as you stated as well. So, how did you understand that value? Because we get to see, it's great to have on your resume, hey, I did such a great marketing campaign for Pepsi or for IBM or Microsoft, like you said, some of these bigger organizations. So your portfolio seems vast and hey, they know exactly what they're doing. But how did you understand that true value in the small guy? Because um, I understand that that's your niche, but sometimes we don't find value in that in the smaller places. How did you come across that?
I was personally interested in helping out the little guys because the little guys really care.
Mm-hmm.
And when they care, they grow with you. And
Mm.
then you become their friends. It's great to have a portfolio of big, amazing companies.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, who are you going to impact? At the most, you're going to impact the marketing director
Mm-hmm.
or the CMO, whoever is your point of contact in that large organization,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're making them look like heroes, but there's very little impact on the actual organization because what are we going to do for, let's say, Nike or any of the large companies? Now, early on, while I was working for other companies, as I mentioned, other marketing agencies, I did have some side hustle projects where I had to build websites, had to provide some marketing research strategies and so on for those smaller businesses.
Okay.
And as soon as we spent sufficient time, and I would explain it to my friends, and my friends were my first clients,
Mm-hmm.
I could see how their eyes would light up, and I
Mm.
could see that finally they understand, meaning that they know that with this little strategy, if they apply some resources, if they start the marketing plan,
Mm-hmm.
they would be able to build a scalable machine that will grow their business.
Mm-hmm.
Because in many cases, that's what separates separates your business from a hobby
Right.
to an actual established business.
Mm-hmm.
To be an established business, you have to have that scalable lead engine or sales engine that
Mm-hmm.
allows your organization to grow.
Wow.
So I'm not sure if I'm answering your
No, no,
question.
no, no, and no, it's fine because and I'm saying that because again, you are building a community, right? You've built a community around you. What, like you said, you might have started off with your friends as you're doing your side hustle, quote unquote, right? That most of us we start off as, but then when we're looking into these smaller organizations, like as you started off by saying, hey, bigger organizations, you're only touching one person. You might talk to their marketing team, but in a smaller organization, you can kind of affect the whole organization. The
Yep.
whole organization is now involved in this process and understanding what it means to be, quote unquote, really, you're building a brand. So I like the idea, and that's why I wanted to drive home, which and correct me if I'm wrong, is about building a community and affecting not just those individuals, but those that's out right outside their whoever else are their customers or clients, both internally and externally. And sometimes we don't understand what our true impact is in that space.
You're spot on, because you're impacting the entire community. It's not just the organization that you work with. It's not just their individuals and team members.
Mm-hmm.
It's the community, because as the organization grows, they're able to invest in other organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now other organizations benefit from the growth of this company, and so on, so on, so on. And it's quite interesting if you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
because our impact is on the entire economy, right? In like
Right.
small microscopic perspective, but it's exciting that we help companies, and not only we help companies, we help individuals, and with the individuals, we help the entire economy to be better.
Mm. And I like that idea because it's really a domino effect.
Hmm.
And sometimes we lose track of that we don't always know who the other customers really are for our customer. And now not only are their business growing, the next person's business is growing. Now guess what? In all reality, now I got another referral, right?
That's right. That's right.
And I think sometimes we miss those opportunities because we get so bogged down with building the portfolio and not understanding, hey, it's about the people, not necessarily about the organization. Yes, it would be great to have $1 billion contract. Yes, trust me, it would be great. But we understand our purpose a little bit more as we're talking to these individuals. So I thank you for just sharing that. That's where I was going with that, Ivan.
Yeah, no, I glad we actually had it covered. And I just recently finished reading the book, going backwards. It's about Amazon's story. I don't know if you've read it. An
Mm,
amazing book.
okay.
But they specifically explained in the book how the entire organization was focused on one simple fact, which is customer obsession. Right? If
Mm-hmm.
you make sure your customers are happy, then that will drive your organization forward
Mm-hmm.
in many more ways, as opposed to focusing just on the you know um, scalability of your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make your shareholders, or in this case customers, happy,
Mm-hmm.
they will drive they will drive their organization to be a much larger one.
So as we're talking about building up the community, right? And we are now not focusing so much on what our competitors are doing or whatever else. Now we're understanding our purpose or whatever. How do you explain the future of digital marketing in that space? Because again, everybody looks at trends, but how do we stay our authentic selves as we're looking at the future of marketing?
So digital marketing is a component of marketing, which is a much larger term, right?
Right.
And we have to look at it holistically. Digital marketing might be a good tool. It might not be a good tool for you. It really depends on your organization. It really depends on where you're going with this, on your goals, and so on, right? It's not always the answer for everyone, but in most cases it is. Reason being, because everyone is sitting on the mobile devices, right?
Right.
Everyone is sitting in front of their computers. Everyone is used to, if you don't know something, what are you going to do? You're going to go and Google something, right? And digital marketing refers to essentially being able to be in the places where people are searching for you, right? And that's search engines, that's social media accounts, podcasts, various authoritative websites, and so on and so on. Now, when it comes to digital marketing, the same main principle applies, which is you have to understand what problems or pain points your product or service solves, right? Then you need to identify your ideal buyer persona, we call it buyer persona, or ideal client profile, and how they make decisions. And this part is crucial. Once you understand, let's say if I'm selling a product or if I'm selling a service, and I specifically solve this particular problem, right? We as marketers have a very specific problem that we solve for our clients. They need scalability, they need growth. That's what we provide. That's what our service provides. Now we understand, just giving you examples from our world, right? We understand our target audience, ideal target audience. Very specifically, we know who our buyers are, who our clients are, right? We know that they're usually entrepreneurs, usually anywhere from 30 to 55 years old, specific demographics, and so on, so on, so on. Once you fully understand that, the next part is figuring out what sets you apart from your competitors, and make sure that your differentiation is clear and prominent everywhere, meaning your website, meaning your podcast, meaning your marketing campaigns, and so on and so on. Those are very important key components that will be required, that you need to come up with, regardless of what marketing strategy you're going to go with, whether it's traditional, whether it's digital, and so on. Now, if for most of the smaller companies, smaller businesses, digital marketing tends to be a less expensive method to market themselves as opposed to traditional media. Also, you can measure it more precisely and more effectively. If you run TV ads, it's a lot more difficult to understand the impact of TV ads on your business, on your growth. Whereas if you launch paid search campaigns on Google, you have very specific methods to understand how successful it is, and if you getting your money back from the campaign, right? So that's why digital marketing is usually a type of marketing that many small businesses tend to start with, because it's most effective. And the best way to start with it would be building your online presence, where the website is your foundation of that presence. It's your best salesperson. So you obviously need to make sure that it's properly optimized, properly built. It shares your differentiation points, to my previous point.
Right.
And then once you have the website, then you can figure out other micro strategies within digital marketing, how to promote your business. And those micro strategies are search engine optimization, so ensuring that your business is visible on Google when someone's searching for it, or paid search campaigns, or social media exposure and social media paid campaigns, email marketing, and so on and so on and so on.
So Ivan, you said a whole mouthful. I'm gonna be honest with you, because and I'm saying that because I'm thinking, I had a client who said they wanted to do a billboard. Like somebody told them, first thing you need to do is go get a billboard. Well, that comes with a whole lot of other information you need to understand as well. How much traffic goes past that billboard every day, or every minute or whatever it is, right? Location, location, location. And then and in that idea of location, as I'm talking about digital marketing, is it really important for me to, because you already told me to find my avatar, to identify my profile person, right? So
Yeah.
now in that, should I really drill it all the way down to focusing on one particular platform on social media versus on everything? Because a lot of times, people say, "Hey, build and they will come" mindset, right? So should I focus on one space or should I try to put it on everything?
When you starting out, most likely your resources are very limited.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start with everything, you're not going to be thorough. Don't forget that there's a lot of competition that do this really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of competition that hires marketing companies like us and pay us good money to do marketing really, really well. So
Mm.
what I would advise if someone is starting out to focus on one or two areas at the most and master them.
Mm-hmm.
It could be content marketing, for instance, if depending, obviously depends on your product,
Mm-hmm.
depends on your, what are you trying to sell it, who are you trying to sell it to, and what's the best way for you to get to this individual, right? That you're selling it to,
Mm-hmm.
or you're trying to acquire. Um, so I would suggest being extremely consistent
Mm-hmm.
and put all your energy in 1 to 2 channels for as long as possible. Just
Hmm.
become really, really good at it. And then
Mm.
only when you have it covered, only when you have it mastered it, only then you can switch to other sectors. Or maybe if you have resources to hire
Mm-hmm.
people or other agencies, other freelancers that can help you with other areas, no problem. But
Hmm.
it's quality over quantity kind of approach.
Wow. So Ivan, first I have to say thank you for coming on the show. And I really like that idea of ending the show on that quality over quantity. But a lot of times we don't understand it. And so if someone needs that understanding, Ivan, where can they reach out to you and find that? Or someone from your organization, where can they reach out and understand, like, hey, maybe I do need to drill down, figure out who my avatar really is. Maybe I need to figure out what platform best suits me. Maybe I need to find out, what digital marketing really truly is. So where can they find you and talk to you about that?
Yeah, you can always reach out to me via email, which is Ivan at comradeweb.com. There's E at the end of word comrade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's also a link to my LinkedIn. You can always reach out to me via LinkedIn as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions regarding digital marketing or entrepreneurship, whatever you think is, I can help you with.
Nice, nice, nice. So, I appreciate that. Of course, all that information will be in the show notes. But Ivan, before I let you go, I gotta ask you the question, man. I gotta ask you the world famous question I ask everybody. Would you rather choose three doors or a fork in the road?
3 doors.
and why? And why the three doors? Why the three doors?
I didn't really have time to think about the answer. But 3 doors is really a creative way for me to understand, what's behind each door. What am
mm,
I getting if I'm opening each of those doors?
mm. So, no
It's
parameters.
more than just 2 directions. It's 3 directions. So
And,
very
and,
interesting.
and keep in mind, I said no parameters, right? No
Yeah.
parameters. So no one
Yep.
said you can't open up all the doors.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to tell you what somebody said to me in the past, that all
Okay.
the doors were see-through. It was plexi or glass or something like that.
That's an interesting answer. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
At least then I don't have to open up the door. I can see what's behind it and choose which one I want.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah.
I'm I'm gonna steal that one.
That's fine. That's fine. So, but Ivan, I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Maurice, thank you so much for having me. And it was I really enjoyed our conversation. So thank you.
No, that's no problem. And I enjoyed it as well. And of course, y'all, thank y'all very much for listening to That Will Never Work podcast. And I will talk to you a little later.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?